The Nintendo 3DS released in 2011 and came bundled with a bunch of free downloadable software, such as the so-fondly remembered face riders that most people play like 2 times, or AR camera, which was very usable for an uncountable number of users, mostly because you start counting at 1 and not 0. But of those free apps, there's always one that's kinda left out of people's remembrance, and not because no one used it, but rather because it was shut down after a brief 3-year period. This was Nintendo Video. Nintendo Video functioned in a rather simple manner. When you opened the app, it would present 4 videos on the bottom screen, which it had downloaded over SpotPass with their title and description on the top screen. The videos would often be compatible with the 3DS's technology and could be viewed in 3D if it was available. After a brief period of time, it would delete those videos so they can be replaced by whichever new videos the service was hosting, often featuring indie animated shorts, movie trailers, music videos, and even original programming shows made specifically for the service. Some of this programming went on to feature large IPs among the likes of Shaun the Sheep, or the excessively popular Batman and Peterman, which would make content specifically for the service. Some of the other programming wasn't so lucky, however, and was essentially forgotten along with the entire application, becoming lost media. I've used the buzzword, please stay. So, why did it ultimately fail? I think to answer that, we need to start at the beginning. The first week of operation is a little fuzzy, and not a lot of information is out there in regards to it because of its early launch in July 3rd, 2011, exclusive to the UK and Japan. Since the videos were dependent on SpotPass and network connection, different regions got different videos, and only the people from the US were diligent enough to make a list. So we will largely be discussing the US videos in this video. There are Nintendo articles mentioning they would include episodes of Oscar Oasis and a special 3D Magic series, of which I could only find 9 of the alleged 26 episodes according to the main site of the mage who would host these shorts. Beyond that point, it's anyone's guess. One can only wonder the sorts of things that we don't even know were lost in the wave of content. Unless someone happens to have a UK 3DS they used from 2011 to 2015 daily without removing any of their SpotPass notifications. Across the ocean, on July 21st, 2011, the first set of 4 videos landed in the US platform. Sunday Jog, Dinosaur Office, Captain America the First Avenger, and What is Nintendo Video? What is Nintendo Video? The video is by far the worst percept of these videos. Naturally, capture cards for 3DS were still being developed, so unless someone gets it from Nintendo themselves, this is about as good a quality as we're gonna get. Not that it matters much, this video is just some 3D text flashing on screen explaining how the application works. The other 3 videos were mostly properly saved, except for the 3D variants featuring the 2 slide perspectives that achieve the 3D effect, which I will stop mentioning as lost content going forward unless it's relevant. Sunday Jug is a pretty colorful short featuring a very cubic isometric world. It follows a pink stick and a blue stick who get chased down by a giant red cube during their Sunday Jog. And despite its simplicity, I think the short is quite funny and engaging. I like the part where the little cubes shoot at the big cube with the fucking machine guns, and I wish this was the weirdest thing that showed up in Nintendo Video because nope, it gets weirder from here. Dinosaur Office, meanwhile, was a claymation collage humor production, though you may recognize the company as Dropout now that they've moved to an unnecessary streaming service. After excruciating and extensive analysis of the piece, I think I gathered the short to feature dinosaurs in an office. That's really interesting. It's probably extremely nostalgic for some of you because the shorts went on to be a full series that recurrently appeared in the service, but the first episode is pretty bad. It is literally 3 bits, one of which is spread out for the entire duration of the show. Since they are dinosaurs, they basically roar every word, and it gets pretty grating to listen to after a while. I'll get back to you on whether it got any better! The last of the first 4 videos was simply the second trailer for the Captain America movie, which you can find on YouTube pretty easily. The film released with 3D variants, so I assumed this 3D worked. This started a long trend of Nintendo Video featuring movie trailers, and 5 days after the start of the service, this video was the first to be replaced by the trailer for the Smurfs film. I hope you remember how good that movie was, because it definitely wasn't. The first week saw one final video, in the form of the OK Go music video for the song All Is Not Lost. This was also just the first in many songs to be featured in the service. As you can tell, it was also in 3D, though not this type of 3D. Notice that some of these videos would periodically return to fill in the slots, so they weren't a one and done deal every time, but generally. Anyways, over the course of the next month, we got Berserk, Pizza Quest, and Next Level. They were all shows by College Humor, whom would continue to repeatedly show up in Nintendo Video's lineups. They stopped providing videos beginning from April 2013 onwards. By the end of the service's lifetime, they managed to create 21 episodes of Dinosaur Office and 13 episodes of Berserk. Occasionally, a video would be replaced simply teasing the next episode of these 2 series due to just how popular they became, and that popularity sort of clued Nintendo into the tone they should adapt for the rest of the service's lifespan, often featuring off-the-walls comedy and kid-friendly dark humor. Other staples that joined the service during 2011 were the Blue Man Group, DreamWorks, fucking Red Bull for some reason, none of Nintendo's target audience is this target audience, but okay, and Treenet, a TV company that specialized in 3D programming, which, while short-lived, was a perfect fit for the service. So much so it even went defunct around the same time. And now it's mostly available as archaic YouTube uploads where you have to physically cross your eyes to see the 3D, but At least they are partially preserved as a bunch of different similar trailers, which are probably not the original videos themselves. This company went up to line up about 60% of the videos in the service during its initial years. Nearing the end of 2011, Nintendo did a telethon where people could call a number and vote for their favorite episode that showed up in the platform so far, with the videos entering rotation every 2 hours, and the winner staying in the platform for a whopping 5 days! 5 days, you guys! That's literally less than some of the videos would normally last. But it was neat. The winner of this contest was the first episode of Dinosaur Office, and they never did another, probably because Nintendo 3DS had a pretty terrible launch and no one participated in this instance of the event. Who knows, maybe future versions would have done better, but they never did another. And from then on, different videos, musics, and companies would go into Nintendo Video. Episodes of Kirby Right Back At Ya would be added in full 3D and localized in January 2012, with a new gimmick allowing players to win the video to keep as a program in their Nintendo 3DS system. This would be used by further additions by Nintendo to the service, such as the Kid Icarus 3D anime. This character here is not just a guy from Kirby, that's literally Kirby. Kirby himself, the guy, Kirby. Other shows they made during this time include Mr. Download Says, Pikmin Safari, The Misadventures of Link following Toon Link, who was on 3 separate 3DS staples, yet none of them is a single game dedicated to him, and How to Win at Smash Bros. 2012 included by far the most videos that required user age verification, a feature that would be scarcely used beyond that point. Keep in mind that shows like Dinosaur Office did include blood and other types of cartoon violence, but it does stay short to, like, say the Bayonetta Bloody Fate trailer featured in November 2014. A few videos such as the Wolfram Kampfmeyer short Wallflower Tango or DreamWorks' Night of the Living Carrots would be uploaded in parts in an attempt to keep people coming back recurrently. Media juggernaut Artman Animations would throw their hat in the ring with 15 minisodes based on Shaun the Sheep, while the smaller Federator would slowly replace College Humor's role, featuring their infinitely better Bravest Warriors, 2 cool cartoons, and Bee and Puppycat series. These series were some of the first to have notable lack of 3D support, and could only be watched in 2D. The shows 3 Idiots and Meet or Die premiered halfway through 2012, and would eventually even have entire marathons dedicated to them. Despite this, 3 Idiots was never released outside of the service, which resulted in only one of its episodes surviving in the form of a screen recording. During the 2012 Olympics, the videos would often feature highlights from the event in London, yet there was surprisingly no mention whatsoever of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, literally no trailers or anything. The next notable event happened in September 2012. Blip's New Pet by 3net released, being the last time 3net added anything new to Nintendo Video, though rebroadcasts of their videos would continue to appear. They decided to call it quits here. The real shame with their loss is mostly that they never featured Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is really weird considering that movie is like this deep analysis of capitalism. Wait, hold on, that's for a different video. This led to a lot of weird shorts having to be done to replace it, such as Elephant's Dream, which isn't weird on its own, but it totally looks weird without context, right? This also resulted in The Mind's Eye, a series that actually let viewers vote for which episode happens next. Even though we'd only live for 3 episodes, the show stuck in people's minds due to the silly pop-punk soundtrack by 8 Chick, who is now going by the name of Lonely Bunker on YouTube. It's very trashy, but that kinda makes it awesome. I think we're far enough into the service's life to talk about its biggest shows and music videos, which are probably a massive source of nostalgia for anyone who actually used the app. Dinosaur Office got way better. Though it's still pretty grating to listen to, they ended up toning down the voices that made the original comedy and started relying on more naturally occurring comedy from the show's concept. And in the matter of voices, the entire voice cast settled much better into their role. It also eventually had a bit of a storyline with the company getting bought or a few holiday specials. The comedy didn't get that much better, but I did find myself more entertained as the episodes went on. It must have been a pretty fun time for viewers to see episodes every now and then, though of course the show lost popularity the better it got because the service began losing users themselves, which was kind of a shame. It had a really cool childlike energy that doesn't often come to TV. The Aardman Shaun the Sheep shorts came in late, but they are certainly the most professional of the shorts. Unsurprisingly, they look immaculate and are excessively cute. No surprises here. Mostly, I'm just wondering if Shaun has some sort of eating disorder, like why is he so thin compared to all of the other sheep? Anyways, the shorts are just generally the farm animals getting into mischief, and it's definitely thanks to their designs that they call up so many memories in people. The Misadventures of Link feature mostly little short stories recorded within Wind Waker HD. It was made from splicing footage together between gameplay shots and shots taken with the selfie feature of the remake. Regularly, it's just Link messing around and falling off a ledge though, almost in the style of a machinima, if you even remember what that is. I've been doing this long enough for you to not be subscribed and me to be only at 13,000 subs, huh? Yes, the shorts. They would also include about 20 seconds of advertisements telling people to buy Wind Waker HD and Link Between Worlds. Sick games, but clearly unwelcome by people, as most of these shorts are largely regarded by the Nintendo community as unfunny and bad. I don't think they're that bad, but they could certainly do better than some of the episodes that are literally just a cutscene from the game with no editing whatsoever. I like this one where Link finds Tingle and he's so repulsed by his apparent queerness that he jumps off a 5-story tower and bombs them in the spirit of hate crimes. Meet or Die. In episode 1, the main guys get flattened by a giant bunny's ass, then get peed on directly into their mouths by pigs. I'm confident this is some furry's fever dream somewhere. These shorts were super highly compacted dark comedies featuring these two dinosaurs wanting to eat meat and literally eating shit because they're so bad at their jobs. At least the sound design people had a field day. Almost everything in these shorts has at least 2 sound effects attached. It's dense, and I mean dense. They have between 10 to 20 jokes in every 90-second episode. That's a joke every 4 to 8 seconds. That shit's faster than TikTok, and we pretend to be surprised internet content with that way. Honestly, it's amazingly entertaining, and just because it's so full of gags, a few managed to hit at least once in each of its 11 episodes. They also had a banger theme song like, what the fuck? This shit slaps! The Wild Hat Ryukyu series was short, but notable due to its notoriety. You can see the episodes on YouTube recorded through the 3DS, and the stories would feature samurai dogs fighting ninja cats. The 4 episodes of stop-motion animation and retro gaming backgrounds are surprisingly awesome, but I mostly bring it up to point out how much of the footage you've seen here are re-uploads by the creators after the service shut down. Some shows didn't get lucky enough to find a place in HD. One of the types of programming that most often planted itself on users were the music videos, the most popular of which were definitely It Girl by Jason Derulo and Burn It Down by Linkin Park. Somehow, this is what Nintendo chose to add here, and I mean, these are good choices. I personally love the Shins, The Rifle Spiral, and Winter Bird by Aurora. They even got to feature Big Time Rush, Fuzz of the People, and Skrillex, most of the videos even in 3D, which was extremely specific at the time. 3D like this has really gone out of fashion since, particularly in music videos. You'd expect all of the videos to be something like this video by Osaka Popstar, a video which you may remember due to the startling dog's face, but no, these are big artists. Except I Fight Dragoons, holy, those guys play some steaming hot doo-doo. Eventually, things started turning for the worse, not just for the content, but also for the platform's reason to be, as Nintendo Video ran into the small issue of Nintendo 3DS releasing the YouTube application, which was better in every way except for the fact that it did not support 3D stereoscopic video and the videos weren't saved to the console so you could watch them offline. This was basically a massive hit towards Nintendo Video, whose videos at the time consisted of weekly 2D uploads of Bravest Warriors and WWE Slam City, as well as the occasional trailer on music video. They basically run on reruns for much of 2014 onwards, excluding the very occasional surprises, like Rosanna Pansino showed up in the platform to make video game related cookies, and the funniest part about this video is that Rosanna put some dinosaurs mounting each other in the background for basically the entire video. That's how dry the server was starting to get content wise, and also probably the root of why I think dinosaurs are hot. The content started to get just really mature. Not in a plus 18 sense of course, but more aimed at teenagers. You could see the pilot for Dead and Paranormal Park with quotes such as, I better own this ass before it owns me, which is honestly incredible writing, or Marshmallow People, which had stabbings and jokes about cannibalism. It became a matter of time towards the end because the flow of content specifically created for the platform started to disappear. Most of its videos were in 2D, and with the introduction to a whole YouTube app, there was actually no reason to continue the service, and thus, on June 29, 2015, the service shut down for good in the US, after being down in other regions since over a year earlier on March 31st, 2014. The last pieces of media made specifically for the service were a 5-part series featuring Eiji Aonuma exploring Termina Town and a weird sketch comedy live-action show titled Tomodachi Life Lessons from Space, which ran for 2 episodes. Though I've talked about previously undiscovered stuff in Tomodachi Life before in this channel, this year may be the rarest piece of Tomodachi Life media. And it sucks mega ass. It's about 2 aliens that use the events shown in the game as a guide to humanity, but it's mostly doing its own thing, with none of the absurdism that makes Tomodachi Life a funny game. They beat up a sandwich, and I genuinely think that me pointing this out is more funny than the actual show's attempt at comedy. Apparently they made 8 episodes, but 6 of them were mysteriously never released. Either way, the last videos in the platform as far as I can tell were The Remote by the Booman Group, Linkin Park's Burn It Down, WWE Slam City Episode 4, and Don't Worry About Losing Your Game Cartridges Anymore from the Mr. Download series. Those were the last videos put into the service in June 25th, 2015. But that's honestly using hearsay and I've got no visual proof. That's how silent the shutdown was. If you're wondering how I know this list, Nintendo would periodically send users a spot pass notification announcing the new video additions. That's what I'm using as proof that these videos were in fact in the platform, but I haven't checked them out in detail myself, if I'm being honest. The few shows that Nintendo decided should remain were fully added into the eShop as downloadable videos, many of which have been backed up, but many of the other shows did not get that luck because they were either removed from the eShop or never put there, which means no one ever got to preserve them properly. And that was the end for Nintendo Video. On the years since, preserving the Nintendo videos has been ignored mostly, save for the major pieces like 3 Idiots or Tomodachi Life Lessons from Space, which are like very gone. A lot of the presumably lost shorts are just around there somewhere. Someone so I easily found most of what I was looking for within 3 to 10 minutes. This Uyuyuy animation seemed lost. Looked it up on YouTube, found the name of the director, searched the name of the director and the name of the short only to find the main side of the animators who with the video backed up, including both of the perspectives necessary for the 3D effect. This is like a really good job at preservation. The short Galaxy is made by the same director, so it was easy to find. The short Samurai has such a specific name that it could be found with a simple search. The short 27 years later is just sitting on YouTube in its stereoscopic version. The short Little Ball 3D is now a Disney favorite in a channel attributed to Mickey Mouse of all people. I didn't have to limit the search to anything before 2014, but it was still there and easy to find. The comedy short Doomsday Draw Near, for example, was a little bit hard because the title of the final video is different, but it was attributed to this Taiwanese group called Next Media Animation, which is now known as Tomo News. The video goes over the same things as the description in Nintendo video says it does, so it's probably the same video. It messed up that I didn't look much into like this Flying Steps video was just uploaded in HD to fucking Vimeo of all places. There is a 3DS recording video of it, which is how I can confirm this is the same video in fact. It's also a very lame video because it's just like a showcase of water in slow motion while some people do some pretty mediocre breakdancing. But then we get to the stuff that I actually had a little bit of trouble finding, like this Nintendo video titled Stereoscopic 3D Imaging, which was preserved by a user who recorded their screen. However, the preview video, which would be this video in its teaser form, is actually completely lost. Who knows what it contains? So it basically turns out that anything else that is lost falls into 3 categories. Number 1 is the properly lost category, that is stuff that you can be certain it is lost, like 3 idiots, and a search for them can be made. Number 2 is kinda like this video called The Descendants, which I could find a variation that matches the Nintendo video description, but it doesn't last the same amount of time. It's likely the video, but there's no way to find out for certain. And number 3 is stuff that was a teaser for a full video, kinda like most of what Treenet would upload. Despite the programming being hour-long 3D content, they'd only upload teasers to Nintendo Video in an attempt to attract new users. It's also a tiny bit funny how they often have videos that match name and full parent video, but there's a mismatch with the description and length, which means it's only like a different teaser for the same thing. Okay. The only exception I could sorta single out is this monkey and bear video. It's described as the short version in the Outdoors website, but it is the length of the Nintendo Video version. Don't mind me skipping the odyssey I went through trying to get this file into a compatible format. I am curious if there's a non-short version of it and have contacted the artist to no response, but like, the short version is probably complete enough for the artist to not bother with the long version. Either way, that means the video would be its own piece of lost media independent from Nintendo Video. Ultimately though, for as big as a shame as the closure of the service that brought so much enjoyment to so many users is, I'm kinda glad it shut down. Like, managing the service alone must have been pretty annoying for everyone working on the project. The fact that users don't agree to have their own videos in the platform meant that they had to go out of their way constantly to get permission, licenses, and people willing to make animations from somewhere else. A costly operation that you can tell didn't work out most of the times. But the biggest thing is just the fact that 3D technology was never going to be anything important. It's a footnote. My own 3DS has had its 3D broken for years, and I've never gotten another one because it didn't stop me from enjoying the countless games I've played for the system. Heck, Nintendo even released a version without the 3D because no one actually cared. There was no viability to the technology. One can imagine a world where 3D interactive media like this got somewhat respectable. And shiver. Worse yet, considering stuff like VR and AR, which are insanely more effective as immersion tools. Even Treenet, which had a cable TV channel in 3D, gave up on the idea promptly. There's also the matter of where Nintendo would have taken this if it was a breakout hit. The idea behind the creation of the software, according to Iwata interviews, was to have an alternative to YouTube for less proactive people, where they don't have to deal with thinking about the content they want to watch. That's kind of scary, isn't it? Like, not in a terrifying, oh, I'm so spooked way, but I certainly prefer at least having the limited ability to select what we want to watch, even if many of us just watch what's already popular. I think this application is just better left as a bygone memory to think fondly about. Just like my self-esteem. So that was me talking for around 19 minutes about Nintendo's almost forgotten video app. I did mention in passing a second ago something about licenses, and I think it's important to remind you that licenses often work per region. So that's why different streaming services sometimes don't have a show available in every country. And no, this is not a VPN sponsorship, I wish it was, but as transition, no, this is about SpotPass TV. June 21st, 2011. Nintendo released SpotPass TV, or more accurately, I Tsu no Mani Terebi, a separate application from Nintendo Video, which released and had its own set of videos in Japan. SpotPass TV would feature 6 videos instead of 4, had its own interface, would send out beautiful images, and update it every day. Not sometimes, every day. It lasted exactly a year, closing in June 20th, 2012 since it was a leap year. Nintendo obviously just told users to use Nintendo Video since it was available in Japan too. Don't worry, everyone liked this since one of the largest issues with Spot Pass TV is that it would occasionally serve users 30-second unskippable ads in the middle of their 90-second video. This may sound par for the course for modern standards, but this was in 2011, unheard of at the time. This service has been like forgotten. Few videos about it exist on the internet proving it even existed, as well as Nintendo's main site, which is still online and is pretty clear-cut proof, huh? Videos such as Happy Smile and a single Transformers trailer have been put on the internet, but fret not, it turns out much of the content is just little spotlights made to advertise Japanese television through 3D specials, such as the one you're seeing on screen apparently titled Leisurely 3D Ship Viewing Experience. You wanna know what they got that we didn't? Cute animal videos. How messed up is that? Also, apparently, videos with girls in bikinis teaching other girls how to make their boobs look bigger while wearing a bikini. I'm just not gonna look too much into this. I did find an English translated news site that reported on Videos Weekly, so you can check that out if you're really curious. They didn't seem to record any video of it in action though, so that's a shame. But yeah, practically every single thing about the service, from its existence to its shutdown, was entirely a result of trying to keep up with the daily videos promise. In order to achieve the quota, the application was a partnered effort between Nippon TV and Fuji TV, two of the biggest Japanese TV programming networks. The upkeep of the service was handled in part through the aforementioned ads. Compare that to Nintendo Video System, where other corporations let Nintendo use their videos through a license. That was way more effective. Add to that, Spot Pass TV featured highly produced shows that tended to recur in the platform. We're not talking about just a bunch of outsized shows like Nintendo Video, we're talking full volumes of shows that release daily episodes. This was definitely an expensive thing to keep up, but it offered a very different experience, I suppose. Everything I mentioned a bit ago, yeah, that was a full show with multiple episodes, the most popular of which was Daily Topedias. The show would feature casual conversation with the host and tons of comedy skits that would often rely on language puns, with corners such as Whose Birthday Is It Today or MDS48, which parodied that one band from that one Mii game I talked about one time if you remember. For perspective, this was their most popular show, and it did a shutdown livestream that only got 19,000 views. That's likely lower than this video's view count. So yeah, it was no surprise. The service was expensive and it was locked to Japan. Eventually, it died, it disappeared, and became yet another forgotten 3DS Spot Pass video application. You know what? I hope you feel proud of yourself, because some people clicked this video too early to even know this video is about Spot Pass TV. It also stands to reason that my usage of the word forgotten throughout the video is like kinda silly, considering I'm helping people remember some of these things, but you know what, I really need to end the video. Except aha, there's actually a third video service on 3DS called I'm Lying to You, and this video is about to end.